What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. Now, many of you know that in our conversations, we've been talking about Sony's next strategy. As somebody who is actually, in my opinion, who is more leaning towards affinity towards PlayStation, I've been really upset with PlayStation for the past few years because I realized that they have not been treating their own consumer base with the utmost respect, nor have they been matching the value proposition that is on other platforms. This is why sometime in 2016 I felt disenfranchised and I decided, if a gaming PC was going to provide any advantages, I was going to go there. But at the end of the day, I still maintain ownership of a PlayStation device where I still play some games. Some of you have misconstrued my position in the past few years as someone who is a, Xbox fanboy or someone who's dedicated to the PC, platform. But the reality is I try my best to be objective, so I will most likely critique heavily an area that I want to see growth in. And that's where I've wanted to see PlayStation for a long time. And to be honest, I'm not really impressed as to how they're managing things. They've raised the price of PlayStation Plus. They've also, in my opinion anyways, not provided a good value with their subscription service. Not saying that they have to, but there has to be something that, in my opinion, if you're going to raise the prices of your subscription service, you really have to, in a sense, bring something that is meaningful, especially when one of your competitors is really dropping some really strong, appealing products for, consumers all over the place and making things accessible. Now, I mentioned that in these videos that I thought that if Sony wanted to really compete and if they wanted to position themselves in a stronger way, they needed to make their way to PC and not only do that, but intensify by making things day one, on PC as well. Some people have said, PlayStation doesn't need PC platform. They'll be fine by themselves. I think you are not looking at it from PlayStation's perspective in this case. And let me show you why I say that. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that it appears that you're probably the only one who thinks that even PlayStation themselves don't really think that at the moment. So just recently, Destin did a video, which Destin, shout out to you for going to look for the main source of this interview that Jim Ryan did with Fidelity Investors. And there was a Q&A section where he answered a question asked by someone, and there's a statement in there that is pertaining to our video that I thought I could extract from what Destin actually did present. So I'll go ahead and show you guys right here. I even left a timestamp on Destin's video just to make sure that I'm indicated exactly where that was. Apparently, Jim Ryan was asked, what would be the ideal mix for first-party games going forward? How much will be live service games versus traditional first-person narrative-driven games? He answered and said, we will continue to make first-person games like we always have, and we expect those to have slightly greater sales and profitability, reflecting our confidence in the long-term installed base of PS5, as well as the fact that those games will make their way to PC. So we think that the pie from the games will grow, but that growth will be incremental in nature. We think the live service games will build on that foundation and take us to another level. That's all I wanted, that they know and recognize that they're bringing their games to the PC platform. I already kind of said that this is inevitable, that these games are going to make their way to PC. But why waste any time, even though, yes, there's a value proposition in terms of people are going to buy more consoles, you're going to keep locking people into the ecosystems. But that particular paradigm seems to be getting more and more challenged because they may be locked in the ecosystem having bought the console, but really what you need is for them to actually be buying games, right? And PlayStation, yes, will benefit from, game sales. Not only their first-party games, they'll benefit from third-party game sales because they get those licensing fees and so on and so forth. So the strategy is sound. But here's where I think there's a little bit of a shaky foundation to that strategy if they were to depend on it 100%. And that is the fact that the competition right now has pretty much purchased the source of one of their biggest income streams. One of them, I'm not saying their biggest income stream, I'm just saying one of, and that is the Call of Duty annual release that has basically netted PlayStation from the PlayStation 4 even into the PS5 generations, millions, if not billions, as I say millions, hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. And that is Call of Duty. And not only have they acquired it, they're going to take it and possibly put it on a $10 a month or $16 a month for ultimate subscription packages for, anyone who wants to get their hands on it using multiple different means, one of them being the PC platform, which PlayStation right now seems to be dragging their feet in getting into. Because Sony's PlayStation doesn't have as much as, like I said in my last video, a unique proposition as, say, Nintendo, but they are confident about their single player games. Did you hear Jim Ryan? Did you guys read Jim Ryan's statement on that? So they're confident about that and know that it will bring in sales. What's the holdup in bringing in more sales? So this is, in my opinion, something where I think even though day one might be too rash in a sense, there probably has to be a middle ground overall that will continue to keep them competitive. I get it. And the reality is not everybody wants to go on, on PC. But in this climate, like I've said before, knowing that you're going to bring your games to PC, why then would you expect somebody to then, who already has a PC for the most part, or who already is on that platform, why do you expect for them to go buy them, a PlayStation, they buy one console, they play your one game, and then they put the console down, it's collecting dust, and that console doesn't achieve the overarching theme, which is supposed to be this person is constantly using that ecosystem to buy other games, third party, first party, to earn you more income. But just this one game, now you've sold a box to them. Sure, you get the initial, burst of money, but I've all kind of like established that the profit margins on those consoles don't really seem to be big. I think there's a good amount of profit, don't get me wrong. I've heard people say that they sell consoles on a loss. I think that's a fugazi kind of thinking, because that's a whole different market, conversation anyways. What company would go sell 40 million units of anything at a loss? I think they have a small margin. I'm not saying that they have a huge profit, but for them to sell at a loss, I don't think they're doing that. That would be very financially irresponsible. I think what it is they're getting discounts, and I learned this from Iceberg Tech. Shout out to you. They're getting discounts on ordering a lot of components to build these devices. So if they're going to order, say, the SSDs, like they actually requested for the PlayStation 5, they know, the SSD company knows that they're going to sell over 20 million units of the PlayStation. I mean, just basically, right off the bat, they're going to make money just selling those consoles and selling those units. So when they order those SSDs, they get a bulk discount to where everybody gets to get a profit from it. So this is how their, actuaries and their, financial analysts calculate these things to make sure that the company is profitable anywhere that they can find profits, because that's just insane and absurd to think that they would eat that kind of a loss on, on a console. Maybe they ate that loss in some other generation, but not in this generation where hardware and parts and manufacturers are hiding all over the corner to help you get the job done. I don't think that's actually how it works. But I think seeing how, Jim Ryan understands that this is a thing, and even people understand that PC is that platform where you really have to go in and, shake the ground a little bit to make sure that your competition is not too, comfortable. It makes sense that they do the day one thing, because the day one thing is really going to, in my opinion, it will rattle Game Pass on PC a little bit. In my opinion, I'm not saying it's going to go in and destroy Game Pass. No, but it has the potential to rattle Game Pass. I would rather, and this is me, I'm not saying that I'm going to do one or the other, but if I was in a position where I have a PC, right now there's a Spider-Man game coming out and I have a limited budget to spend, and I knew I was getting Spider-Man day one, I'm probably going to have to basically say to my Game Pass subscription, well, I'll probably come back later on. I'm not going to continue for the next few months. Let me play this one single player game that I like, and then I'll come back to Game Pass. Or maybe I might choose the other, alternative. Or maybe like people who don't subscribe to Game Pass on PC, I'm sure many of you won't believe it, because some people think, oh, everybody on PC subscribes to Game Pass. No, there was PC gaming bigger than, you could even imagine then before Game Pass. And people like that could say, I don't subscribe to Game Pass. I just prefer to purchase my games. There are people who everything they do is they want all their games on Steam. They don't care where the game is. They'll wait till it comes to Steam. If it never comes to Steam, they'll never touch it. And so many people like that still exist on the PC platform and will be happy to engage in these single player games if they like them. And they provide for a very huge sales community, especially when you see how many people on Steam actually bought, Starfield in early access. This is not even full complete sales. This is early access for Starfield. That was, I think, about 200 and something thousand players were caught at one time playing the game in early access. That's insane. If you had, say, even, a 30% return rate, which some people are miscommunicating that there were 200,000 refunds, that was the number of refunds in one given day. That's not the number of refunds for Starfield. People don't really refund games like that. People actually consider what they're going to play. Plus, Bethesda games really have a huge number of fans. But if you consider even a 30% refund rate for the early access, that is still a whole ton of sales, especially when you have another PC platform that actually has the game on it with a $10 subscription, on there. So the games are selling, and there are people who don't want to deal with Game Pass who would prefer to buy the games. Microsoft understands this. Sony understands this. The reason that I'm making these videos is, why are they dragging their feet? That's all I'm asking, because it's inevitable. And I know some of you are saying, we don't want the games to go to PC. It doesn't really matter how you feel about it. These companies want to go ahead and they want to make money, so they understand and they realize that these games are going to be coming to PC. They understand that there is a market there. It's not because the PC community thinks like someone thought that we're special or whatnot. It's not. No, it's a disjointed community made up of a whole bunch of console players anyways. That's pretty much what I've always envisioned the PC community as, right? A bunch of people who were already playing on PC. There are most of them. Then there are a bunch of people who left console and went to PC. That's a huge number too. So I guess you have to categorize it as they're just gamers who want to play any game wherever it is that they possibly can. So that's my video. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. Leave thoughts in the comment section. We'll talk pretty soon, hopefully. Peace out.